Most retirement experts spend decades telling you the exact same thing. Invest your money. Don't let cash sit around. Put your money to work. And for most of your life, that's actually good advice. But then something strange happens when people retire. Many smart retirees start doing the exact opposite. They begin keeping far more cash than younger investors think they should. And surprisingly, they're not doing it because they're scared. They're doing it because retirement changes the rules completely. In fact, one of the biggest retirement mistakes today may not be keeping too much cash. It may be not having enough when you need it most. Think about it. When you're 45 years old and working full-time, a financial emergency is frustrating. But when you're 75 and retired, that same emergency can become a major problem. Because retirement removes one thing most people take for granted: the ability to simply earn more money. Today we're uncovering why smart retirees keep more cash than you think, why some wealthy retirees prioritize liquidity over investment returns, and why the number one reason has almost nothing to do with investing at all. And make sure you stay until the end because the final reason completely changed how many financial planners think about retirement. Let's begin with a risk almost nobody talks about. Meet John. John retired at 66. He did everything right. He had a paid-off house, a healthy investment portfolio, no major debt. He felt financially secure. Then one year changed everything. First, his roof needed replacement. Then his wife faced an unexpected medical procedure. A few months later, the family car suffered a major repair. None of these expenses were catastrophic on their own, but together they created a serious cash problem. Suddenly John found himself asking a question millions of retirees face: where do I get the money? This is where retirement becomes very different from working life. Many retirees spend years worrying about market crashes while completely ignoring the expenses that quietly appear in real life. Research now shows that retired households regularly face unexpected expenses and that the typical retired household spends about 10% of annual income on these surprises. Even more surprising, a large percentage of retirees don't have enough liquid cash to comfortably handle them. And that's why smart retirees think differently about cash. They don't see cash as a poor investment. They see cash as insurance against life's surprises. But here's where things become even more interesting. Because unexpected expenses aren't actually the biggest reason many retirees keep larger cash reserves. The next reason is far more dangerous. It's a trap that makes people look wealthy on paper while leaving them financially stressed in real life. Imagine two retirees. Both have a net worth of over $1 million. Both own beautiful homes. Both have investment accounts. Both appear financially successful. But one retiree has $50,000 in accessible cash while the other has only $3,000 sitting in the bank. Which retiree is actually safer? Most people focus on net worth. Smart retirees focus on liquidity. Because wealth trapped inside a house doesn't help much when a major expense arrives next week. This is what many financial planners call becoming house rich and cash poor. On paper, you look wealthy. In reality, you may struggle to handle everyday financial surprises. And that's exactly where many retirees get into trouble. Because the next mistake can cost retirees far more than a roof replacement, a car repair, or even a medical bill. In fact, it can quietly destroy years of investment growth without most people realizing it until it's too late. Let's go back to the retiree who looks wealthy on paper but feels financially stressed in real life. Imagine someone with a $900,000 house, a healthy retirement account, and no major debt. Most people would call that person wealthy. But what if they only have $3,000 sitting in the bank? Suddenly, one unexpected expense changes everything. This is the rich house, cash poor trap. And it's far more common than most people realize. Wealth feels comforting until you need access to it quickly. Your house may be worth a fortune, but you can't use your kitchen to pay a medical bill next week. You can't use your living room to replace a broken HVAC system. You can't use your home equity to buy groceries tomorrow morning. This is why many smart retirees stop obsessing over net worth and start focusing on liquidity. Because liquidity creates options, and options create freedom. But as important as that sounds, we're still not talking about the biggest reason retirees keep larger cash reserves. Because the next reason can quietly cost people hundreds of thousands of dollars over a long retirement. Imagine it's 2008 or 2020. or any major market downturn. Your investment portfolio suddenly drops 20, 30, or maybe even 40%. Most people tell themselves they'll stay calm. They'll wait for the market to recover. They'll think long-term. But then real life gets involved. A medical bill arrives. The roof starts leaking. A family emergency appears. Suddenly you need money right now. And if you don't have enough cash available, you may be forced to do the one thing every retiree wants to avoid: selling investments at the worst possible time. This is where retirement becomes completely different from investing during your working years. When you're employed, market crashes are often temporary setbacks. You keep earning a paycheck. You keep investing. Time helps you recover. But when you're retired and taking money out instead of putting money in, market downturns become far more dangerous. Many financial planners recommend maintaining a meaningful cash reserve specifically to avoid being forced to sell investments during major market declines. Some even discuss maintaining liquidity that can cover many months or even years of spending needs depending on individual circumstances. Smart retirees understand something younger investors often miss. Cash isn't there to maximize returns. Cash is there to prevent bad decisions during stressful moments. Because one forced sale during a major downturn can permanently damage a retirement plan. But money isn't the only thing cash protects. The next reason is far more personal. In fact, it's one of the biggest retirement risks almost everyone underestimates: healthcare. At 65, many retirees feel healthy, active, independent, full of energy. They imagine the next 20 years looking very similar to the last 20 years. And for some people, that's exactly what happens. But for many others, life takes an unexpected turn. Meet Susan and Mark. When they retired, both were healthy. They traveled, walked every day, enjoyed life. Then 10 years later, a serious health issue appeared. Suddenly they were dealing with doctor visits, treatments, medications, and expenses they never planned for. The financial impact wasn't just the medical costs themselves. It was the speed at which money was needed. Healthcare emergencies don't wait for the stock market to recover. They don't wait for investments to bounce back. They require action now. This is one reason many retirees consistently underestimate the importance of liquidity. Research continues to identify healthcare and unexpected expenses as major retirement risks. And now we're getting closer to the real reason smart retirees sleep better at night. Because the next reason has nothing to do with roofs, market crashes, or healthcare bills. It has everything to do with peace of mind itself. And surprisingly, that's where most retirement advice gets the story completely wrong. Now we're getting to the real reason smart retirees keep more cash than most people think. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with maximizing returns. It has everything to do with peace of mind. Think about two retirees. Both have exactly the same net worth. Both have similar homes, similar investments, similar retirement incomes. Yet one sleeps peacefully every night while the other constantly worries about money. Why? The difference often isn't wealth, it's confidence. Many retirees know they could potentially earn a higher return by investing every available dollar. They understand the math. They understand the markets. But retirement isn't lived on a spreadsheet. Retirement is lived in the real world. It's lived through market crashes, medical surprises, family emergencies, and unexpected life events. Cash provides something many investments cannot provide immediately: certainty. When a retiree knows there's money available for emergencies, stress often decreases dramatically. They don't panic every time the market falls. They don't worry about every unexpected expense. They don't feel forced to make emotional financial decisions. Cash becomes a source of confidence. And confidence becomes a source of freedom. But here's where most retirement videos get the story completely wrong. They tell retirees to keep more cash without ever discussing the danger of keeping too much. This is where smart retirees separate themselves from everyone else. They understand that cash solves some problems while creating others. Imagine a retiree with $500,000 sitting entirely in cash for 10 or 15 years. It may feel safe. But inflation quietly works in the background every single day. Prices rise. Healthcare costs increase. Everyday expenses become more expensive. And slowly, the purchasing power of that cash begins to shrink. This is why smart retirees don't keep unlimited cash. They don't abandon investing. They don't move everything into a savings account. Instead, they look for balance. Enough cash to handle emergencies. Enough liquidity to survive market downturns. Enough flexibility to avoid panic decisions. But still enough invested to support long-term growth. Research and retirement experts continue to emphasize that while cash reserves are important, excessive cash holdings can reduce long-term purchasing power and growth potential. And now we've reached the number one reason smart retirees keep more cash than younger investors expect. Freedom. Not returns. Not performance. Not beating the stock market. Freedom. Freedom to handle emergencies without stress. Freedom to help a child or grandchild when they truly need support. Freedom to replace a roof without selling investments during a market crash. Freedom to say yes to opportunities. Freedom to travel. Freedom to make decisions slowly instead of desperately. This is what many younger investors don't fully understand about retirement. When you're building wealth, growth often feels like the most important goal. But once you're retired, flexibility becomes priceless. Imagine two retirees facing the exact same financial emergency. One has a healthy cash reserve. The other doesn't. The first retiree calmly writes a check and moves on with life. The second retiree spends days worrying about where the money will come from. Same emergency. Completely different experience. That's the power of liquidity. That's the power of flexibility. And that's why so many smart retirees keep more cash than younger investors think they should. Not because they don't understand investing. Not because they're afraid of the market. Not because they expect disaster. They do it because retirement changes the game. When you're working, growth is often the priority. When you're retired, resilience becomes just as important. And sometimes the most valuable asset in retirement isn't the one earning the highest return. It's the one that's there exactly when you need it. So what's the lesson from today's video? Smart retirees don't chase cash. They don't avoid investing. They simply recognize that retirement isn't about maximizing every dollar. It's about creating a life that feels secure, flexible, and enjoyable. The goal isn't to have the biggest portfolio on paper. The goal is to have enough freedom to enjoy the years you've worked so hard to reach. And now I'd love to hear from you. How much cash do you think retirees should keep available? 6 months? 1 year? 2 years? Let me know in the comments below. I read every comment and I'd genuinely love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more retirement insights, retirement planning strategies, and financial lessons that can help you make smarter decisions throughout retirement. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and your family. And I'll see you in the next video.